shifting stuff around here. All right. Okay. Well, good morning to everybody. Thank you all for joining. Welcome back to another Engineering the Markets. My name is Jared. It is January 9th, 2023. We have made it through our first trading week of 2023, albeit it was a shorter trading week. We only had 4 sessions to kind of work through, but there was, of course, our Friday session, which, as the title suggests, we're seeing a little bit of a technical breakout, some conviction in regards to our past couple of weeks of trading range and the overall balance that we've been seeing in the S&Ps. So we're going to talk about what facilitated it, some levels of interest to kind of keep on watch now that we're starting to move a bit more decisively. And as always, just kind of leveraging that into whether we should believe it or not. I think in this market environment, we've seen many attempts, many rally setups that eventually fail or might have a little bit of a push to them, with the understanding that we still might want to be short biased moving forward. So with all that said, let's talk about where we are. Let's talk about the move itself. And let's start off with our SPX expected move, which is what we do every single Monday. You'll notice that we do have a 5-session trading week. So it's important to understand that we're seeing a larger expected move this week, but we also have one more trading day. So for the most part, don't read too much into the fact that volatility looks as if it's expanded. Really, it's just more days to trade. But with that said, understand as well what the market is pricing. We are entering into a week with a couple of known economic events. One of those in particular tends to be a pretty significant market mover. And therefore, the SPX option market is pricing about a 100-point expected move, 98.25 to be precise. Given that we closed at 38.95 last week, you'll see that marked here, the upper boundary of that trend day that we had on Friday. That marks our expected move boundary between 39.93, and for the most part, that would be a significant rally. If that were to take place to any degree, not only would we be pushing into a known and well-defined volume point of control, a VPOC, that we're looking to maybe kind of reclaim, but additionally, there would be some gap structure that would start to be repaired. You'll notice as I highlight my cursor over this area, one of the notable gap downs that we saw from this previous range occurred during this phase right here. And this was, of course, a 1-2 punch that the market experienced with data being delivered. I believe it was CPI at the time, along with the FOMC impacts that occurred during that period. So reclaiming those prices would, of course, be a bullish opportunity. We are looking at maybe this setup from Friday carrying us into some of those upper boundaries. But the downside of this week and the volatility expectation of this week is 37.97, which, if that were to occur, or if we were to see sort of a reversion back into our previous trading range, I think that would imply multiple aspects of a failed rally, coming back into our balance. And then more notably, if we were to lose 3,800 approximately, we'll talk about the type of risk that the market may see if that were to take place. And not to say that this week is the only time that could occur, but it is within our expected move boundaries. So it is a notable price area to keep on watch. So couple of things for our format moving forward. And this is just to kind of get us into preparation for some changes that I'm looking to take place. We're going to spend most of today talking about last week's rally and just the impact that it's having. We're going to look at a few risk elements that are maybe confirming and potentially negating some assumptions that were made. Finally, we're going to shift into what to focus on for the week. And I'm going to use that information for tomorrow, along with, to some degree, Wednesday, to talk about where to focus and where to put some of your sort of mental effort throughout the week. That'll allow you to maybe have a little bit of a smaller region of I guess, like trade expectation. But additionally, we'll use that information to confirm or deny any sort of pullback or change in how this chart represents the strength from last Friday. So with that said, let's first take a look at how the SPY and NASDAQ performed. Obviously, both of them seeing correlation to the upside. I was very much inclined to mark two specific prices that the SPY in particular had defined throughout this trading range. You'll note that we've been here for quite a while. This is about 2 to 3, or I think it's actually 3 weeks of overall trade. And throughout that period, there's a lot of back and forth. There's obviously a lot of frustration for anyone who's directional because most things are short term. You're having to be kind of aggressive towards a high rejection, a low confirmation sort of bounce. And for the most part, a lot of bulls are hesitant simply because if we were to break that trading range to the downside, that would open up a lot of risk. We know that we're kind of looking at a retracement from the 414 extension that we're kind of marking here. And most fib traders would also identify that the retracement is still within that bearish flag position. Regardless of how strong Friday was, we've only really taken back about 38 to 40% of the entire drop from 414. So these extensions are, for the most part, targets for now. Any rally would see some initial resistance at some of these more simulated or synthetic resistance levels. But as we reclaim price, we can also look at historical levels and start to understand what needs to take place about each particular region. So what does a bull have to keep proving in order to keep this rally healthy and also to keep, proving it to the market? Otherwise, the risk back to the downside is still quite evident. It's still available. So two price levels that I thought were critical for breaches. The first one, once again, you could argue about 380, and this is 3,800 in the SPX, 380 in the SPY, for the most part, just around that region. This to me was sort of the critical price level that if we had breached and moved away from to the downside, I ultimately didn't think there was a lot of support all the way back down to the October lows. There was maybe some minor areas to look for along the way, but had we breached to the downside, that would have essentially been a massive short signal. And I think for the most part, you would have just been looking for bear plays. But we didn't. Friday, we did have volatility into that price level. And for those who are maybe keen to some of the trending day structure, if you're a market profile theorist, or if you understand how a trend day will often look, we rallied down, or we pushed down into an area that was defended through the previous day's close. I don't have it necessarily marked here, but the previous day's close was a couple of cents lower from our spike down. And as we were getting our 10 o'clock data on Friday, this initially was seen as bullish. We rallied back, we tested high of day, and for the most part, that could have been the whole session. We could have traded sideways. We could have stayed within a 4-point range, but moving past high of day, and more specifically, moving into this 385 region, this was essentially the range high that needed to be broken, decisively and without any sort of give back on the next session, which we'll obviously look for that today. That was the moment, the inflection point where there was some defense. You could tell that the market stalled for about 2 hours, even tried to set up bearish back inside of our balance range. But ultimately, it led into another breach, another breakout, and we were able to achieve about an $8 to $9 move on Friday. Now, this is more relevant to intraday trade because I think a lot of traders struggle on days like this, mostly because they don't see it as continuation opportunity until it's too late. They often neglect the fact that we're trying to move initially from low to high. That's always been our objective inside of this balance range. As long as the lower boundary holds, the upper boundary is almost always the target. And not every day is built to hit those upper boundaries, but if we're able to maintain strength throughout the market, and we'll look at some correlation that was taking place under the hood, those upper targets are not only achievable, but the pattern structure, the breakout attempts, and of course success that we had on Friday, along with the fact that even the bears can't negate near the highs. And you'll kind of notice here there's a fairly common reversal structure in the form of a possible head and shoulder at the range high. This is where we should be seeing the pullback, or the one that's going to take us back into range. As soon as that failed, and obviously getting over this high would have caused that failure, this structure needed to break down, and it just couldn't. So we know that not only do bulls have full control, but additionally, the attempt to revert was negated. And that offers an additional expansionary event, another $2 to $3 move. And that's simply from this area. We often talk about some other measured moves in regards to this cup and handle right here. And this is what a lot of us were looking at on Friday. So, this was maybe the morning target, just to expand the V reversal, to double this entire morning pattern and to hit that measured move target. This move here is simply based on the fact that we tried an inverse, a head and shoulder, and then we failed. So that's important as well. We need, after a certain point in time, consolidation needs to take place, but we also need to basically negate the opposite camp, in this case, the bearish camp. So lots of opportunity just on that single session, but I wanted to show how it was stepwise. There had to be a push to previous day close. That is a very common trend day setup. There had to be a reversion of that entire pullback, and it was about 4 points or $4. So it was a pretty major return to high of day. And then all that said, we had to break out trend, and even through consolidation, we had to fail to pull back, essentially not give back the rally. And as you kind of layer in things like moving averages or just something that can kind of highlight the type of strength, you'll see how that structure came together throughout that one session. It was one of the better sessions to kind of highlight these points, as to what was taking place. So we know that the market was strong on that session. We also know that the right sectors were taking the rally with them. They were leading for the most part. We had technology and communication services as two of our strongest sectors on Friday. They led the charge, and for the most part, they were where you wanted to be most of the day. Little bit of semiconductor weakness initially. I think they pulled back a little harder than most, but once we sort of reclaimed tech footing, and of course, once the SPY started to break out along with the NASDAQ, everything pretty much was one-sided. You were mostly looking for longs. So does last Friday's rally have components outside of price action that confirm the type of strength that we were seeing? For the most part, there was a couple of signals that could have told you be long and stay long, basically to trust what you were seeing through price. The first one that I thought was the most obvious was dollar. As we were getting the ISM numbers, pull this back here. Wrong screen. So trading terminal, just going to the calendar just to kind of highlight what sort of data we did receive on that Friday. So we started off our pre-market. We had manufacturing payroll, non-farm payroll, that's what most people call it. And then as you shift into, make sure I click right. Come down here. Got to hit the right arrow. ISM, non-manufacturing data. Now, we're looking at this as a catalyst just at a high level. It drove price activity to respond. But there is going to be some analysis, and I'm going to save this mostly for Tuesday and Wednesday, as to what does this data suggest? Because for the most part, these actual readings were quite surprising. They deviated significantly both from previous months' readings along with the estimates. And I think for the most part, some of that sentiment shift was taking place not only because data came in a certain way, but additionally because of the magnitude, the differentiation or the change percentage. You can kind of see these numbers highlighted here, massive differences between what was expected and what was true, what the data showed. So we're going to look at this a little bit more in probably Tuesday near the end of the session, and then we'll cover a bit more on Wednesday. The reason I want to do that is because the rest of the week has additional catalysts kind of coming into focus. We do have things like CPI coming back in on Thursday, and there's going to be some other data related items that will strengthen what was provided from the ISM numbers. So for the most part, allowing some of that data to actually be released so we can talk about it completely. But the shift in how the dollar performed was one of the main things that under the hood was providing a lot of fuel for the bulls. What's interesting here is this is typical behavior that we've seen from last year, where once the dollar starts to become weaker, and it could be just on a short-term basis or throughout some sort of trending structure, if the dollar is going down, we for the most part have claimed that equities can be strong. And that has been true, especially as the dollar was topping out, and more specifically in the November to December period. This was kind of a notable, continuation of bullishness until we got to the FOMC meeting, and that, of course, kind of canceled out some of that price activity. Now, from a relative price perspective, is the dollar doing anything of note? And is this price region important? If you've been joining us lately, you know that this is monthly support. This is also on a much higher time frame, a box. It is a price region that the dollar has broken from. But if you pull back time enough to where you can see what's occurring, maybe even like a quarterly chart is one of the best ways to kind of see this this breach. Let me do like a 10-year quarter. You'll notice something important here is the simple fact that the dollar has engulfed all of its strength from mid to late 2022. So what does this tell us? Well, it tells us from a technical perspective that the box tried to break out. We tried to go outside. And if we're unable to hold near the top of the box, essentially the resistance turned support, we know more often than not the highest probability of where this is headed. And most people would say somewhere back inside the box. So anywhere around 95 would be an ideal downside target for the dollar. But even more critically, we could even test the lows. And anytime you have a technical structure like this where you're trying to breach, but then you come back inside, you're always looking at the breakout to hold much better and to hold away from where you were. You want to break out and trend. This is a back test. And, you know, from a technical picture, it's not a very good one because we've engulfed a lot of that rally and we're already pressing lower, you know, back inside. Even on a yearly perspective, you know, the first 5 trading weeks, we've engulfed last week's trade. So we've, you know, put up that pin bar on the week. So the equities market still appears to be responding quite bullish to dollar weakness. And this is, of course, contrary to another discussion we had where if the market is looking at a more recessionary theme, the dollar weakness will be perceived a little differently. Weakness in the dollar would be indicative of a return to other global or international currencies, basically moving away from the dollar, returning to the euro, the yen, the franc, for example. And those sentiment shifts are bearish. So weakness in the dollar in a recessionary theme could indicate weakness in equities. We're not seeing that currently. And this was an important thing to remember as we got into 2023 is, do we still have the same theme and do we still behave the same as we did in 2022? In the short term, the answer is yes. We're still looking at weak dollar, stronger equities. The question is, does this ever change? And we're going to be looking if that's ever going to shift. For now, we're looking at the correlation still existing, where it's an inverse correlation to how equities tend to perform. Now, last kind of point here before I shift into another risk element or indication of strength. Excuse me. The dollar being priced at this 103 to 104 region is interesting for another reason. Whenever the equities market was trading back in June and July, we know that this was near the lows. You know, June and July was a fairly tumultuous time for equities. The dollar had just broken out. So, you know, that strength was coming, but for the most part, the pullback in the dollar around that period was when the equities were bottoming. It's interesting to see that we're trading similar equities prices based around when those pullbacks occurred and when certain risk elements were priced the same. So in the period of, let's say, July, for example, in the S&Ps, we were trading around 375 to 390. And in fact, we started to break out and backtest near the end of July. You compare that to the dollar, and that's when we were starting to break out throughout July. That kind of kept us in that box. But then our pullback started, and we got that pullback in the dollar for about a month until we started a new expansionary leg. So these price regions are interesting, not only because of current behavior, but also relative behavior. What was the dollar priced at that time, and how does it correlate to how equities are currently priced with regard to the S&P? Now, the NASDAQ is a little bit weaker. You know, if you were to make that same comparison, tech has gotten a little bit weaker, even though the dollar is the same. And we know the sensitivity for technology, and for the most part, a lot of the growth related sectors, comes from a strong correlation to how rates are performing. Another interesting behavioral characteristic was we did see bonds rally on Friday quite strongly as well. There's volume behind it. And while we are still kind of trapped within some weekly levels, we are pushing off of a pullback. You know, it was a drawdown period, and now we're kind of pushing back to the upside. Once again, 2023, I believe, is a shift into sort of a stage one of economic contraction. And while we're not necessarily seeing the major correlation shifts quite yet, bonds are still outperforming during this period. It's noteworthy to see, for example, in TLT, the market rallied here about 2.75% just from low to high. Now that's just a day, but we're also seeing bounce structure, or at the very least movement, where the rest of the equities market was trapped inside of its balance range. You know, the SPY had its 380 to 385, but bonds have been on the move. And as I mentioned before, I do believe bonds are going to be a focus area for at least a quarter or two, mostly because if we're starting to see a draw to them, especially the longer dated bond series, the 10, 20, and 30 plus, 10 plus, 20, and 30, I'll say, that increase in bond pricing leads to massive reduction in our longer term rate. And once again, there's some corollary aspects to how that might be perceived depending on how the market is themed, recessionary or inflationary. So definitely watch those types of price movements, especially when they're dramatic. And I do think that Friday was a big signal for a lot of those elements to start moving. The last one that I'll mention just in the last kind of minute here, keep an eye on corporate debt. So HYG or J&K, they're both viable ETFs that kind of showcase this, this performance. One thing that kind of keeps me on the bull side for now is anytime there's a risk on feel to the market, when there's a comeback into tech and communication and the right sectors, the right risk on approach, I want to see corporate debt leading as well. Usually this will confirm or deny rallies to the most part. And similar to how we rejected in the SPY back in mid-December, this 200-day moving average is going to be kind of the line in the sand. We push towards it, we could easily pull back a little bit, but if we ever break out, and with some volume behind it, a very convincing breakout, I'll be looking at that as a big signal for the markets to perform to the upside moving forward. And I think if you're ever looking at something as kind of a go, no-go signal, I like to have things like HYG pull the trigger for the most part and keep you on one side of the market as long as that breakout is moving. So with all that said, we'll talk a little bit more about how this works, maybe for those who are new, but I'm going to cover the why. I'm also kind of wrap in some new elements that I want to start covering, things that we haven't really looked at before. All that said, definitely need more time than today. So stay tuned for pre-market prep. Have a wonderful trading day. We'll talk more tomorrow. See y'all then.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to PreMarket Prep. I hope you're having an amazing morning. Hopefully, you guys had an incredible weekend. Good morning, Norm. How are you doing today?
Good morning, brother. I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing good, my friend. Doing good. Can't
Good
complain.
weekend with the family?
I did, man. I had a great weekend. So definitely had a good time, man. Hopefully, you did and everyone else also.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I saw you were on the water. I saw pictures of you and your son
Oh
manning the ship
yeah,
there. So very
yeah,
nice, very nice.
yeah. That's his first time actually as helmsman on the boat for a few minutes. So that was
There we
rad.
go.
Without anybody like holding on to him for dear
Yeah,
life. So
no, he was pretty much in control by himself. They're very
yeah,
good. Good, man. Good. Glad to see that. Um, guys, welcome to Market Prep. Big shout out to Jared Engineering the Markets. Let's give him a thumbs up every Monday through Thursday, bring you some great information there. Let's get to it, guys. Our gappers list this morning, we are seeing a couple of stuff in the green side of things, and a lot of it is due to just a great rally we had on Friday, guys. If you look at the SPY, that traded very well, and this morning we're seeing some strength again in that area.
been
I
a
see.
while since we've had a gappers list that resembled anything like this, and not that there's not a
Yeah,
little bit of garbage on here,
right,
but
right.
there's some good stuff. We're gonna have a good list today.
Yeah, I think today's gonna be a good day, man. Looking forward to this
Good
today and
week,
to this week. Yeah, yeah,
other than the 5 day thing.
yeah, yeah,
What the bunk?
exactly. Yeah,
Feels like a year since we've had a 5 day week.
I can get used to a 4 day week very quickly. As much as I love trading, I would still love 4 day trading week. uh, all right, guys. So we'll get into this list here. A little bit of the gap down. I know Macy's is not doing too hot right now. And then we'll see what's happening with all that there. Let's take a look at some of the stuff happening today. Norm, overall market situation.
Yeah, not a whole lot of data today. We do, various Fed speakers. Somehow that didn't get deleted at the bottom, but we do have a Fed speaker at 12:30. That's Boston Atlanta Fed president at 12:30. 11 a.m. We've got New York Fed 1 and 5 year inflation expectations. Consumer credit at 3 o'clock. The big news this week that's going to be coming out is actually, well, we do have Powell speaking 9 a.m. tomorrow. He's going to be in Sweden at an event. Luckily, that's a little bit before the market opens. So if we can avoid the pre-market mess when he's talking, I don't know if it'll be done or not by the time the market opens, but at least it won't be while the market is open that his speech is starting. Thursday, Thursday, we have inflation info with CPI. So that'll be big. We'll see what happens there. If inflation continues to cool, that would be phenomenal. Yeah. And then are we closed? We're already closed again next Monday. Wow.
Yeah, 15, 16.
16th.
Don't quote me.
Martin
Yeah.
Luther King Day, 16th.
Yep.
So nice.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice.
See, told you.
It's like, is it after this one, or I think we have a long stretch, man. That seems
No, we got
forever.
President's Day in February. Then it's a long stretch.
Then it's a long stretch. Yeah. Guys, let's get right to it. Let's delete the stuff from Friday. Control A, Control X gets rid of all this. And then once we do that, we can hop into our gap up list from this morning. Starting here with CINC. This is up.
No, it's a buyout. Cash buyout, biotech, move on.
Yeah, let's move out of here, guys. So that's no good. That's not going to trade at all well today. Albo seems like a buyout as well, up 92%.
I don't have anything on this. It's not looking great. It looks a bit like a buyout, but I don't have any confirmation on that. If somebody has something awesome, it might be in sympathy with the other. I'm not sure, but it didn't look great, so I didn't dig too deep. But the couple of sources I checked, I didn't have any news on it.
Yeah, so that does not look tradable right now. It looks like a buyout, so I'm going to skip on that one. If you guys see something, let us know. Let's go to DCT this morning. Ooh, this is also looks funky. And it's, what's this TQ? Is this halted for trading or something?
This is a buyout.
Trading resume. Yeah, so this is no good either. All right, so the first three strikeouts there. Let's see at the CVAC. We had this on our list before. Not the best trader. Today they're up 25%. Norm, any good reason why we can keep this on today?
They have a COVID-19 vaccine, I guess, that had some decent trials. That having been said, it's a German biotech. I won't touch it. I wouldn't touch it.
Yeah.
Myself. So.
All right, so we'll stay away from it. I'm not a fan of that, and I think we've seen it before. It doesn't trade very well. Let's go to Dawn. Dawn this morning. This is up 23%. I don't like the volume of the pre-market on this thing. What is this, Norm? Is anything good here? I'm not sure.
It's another biotech. They had some positive phase 2 trials on a child cancer drug.
Yeah, doesn't look good. All right, we got some Chinese tickers coming up here, starting with Futu, which has a really good pre-market activity. It's the best thing we've seen so far this morning. So you can see here up 6.7, 335,000. Now, normally this stock would not be on our list, but today, Norm, I don't know, man. It looks rather interesting with this possibly closing this gap.
Could be.
Yeah, right. I mean, at least a possible, I think. So we'll see, guys. It looks decent. Again, not a great trading stock, but looks good here. We'll see what we can get out of that one.
I've got news on a couple of the Chinese tickers. There's more than I have news on. Some of them don't. I mean, they obviously have the back and forth on different China stuff. I know China Central Bank's talking about, helping out, make sure the economy's on firm footing and everything else. Other than that, I don't see anything specific to FU to you.
There you go. So we'll see, guys. I love the possibility of closing this gap here if they had an overreaction, right? Which it seems like they might have. So we'll see. Here is Coin. Coin at the moment, they are, they're up 5.4. Not a big fan of Coin, even when it has been in play. Like on these big days, we've seen other stuff trade better. So I really just kind of avoid it. We'll put as a possible. We can always come back to this, but it hasn't been one that I've been keeping a close eye on, and the few times I looked at it hasn't been great. Continue with some of the Chinese tickers. We do have Baba, which I do like, so I am going to add that one to my list. Man, this thing, Baba is on its own mission here the last couple of days, man. It's just been cranking away. It is up another 5.2 today after nothing but green days. So I know those Chinese tickers have been very active, but nothing like Baba. They must have something going on.
Yeah. So we spoke not too long ago about Ant Group and regulators, which the regulators in China were going after this thing hard a while back. And it really hurt Baba and some other Chinese tickers. Apparently, Jack Ma is planning. He's going to be stepping back from control on Ant Financial, which is popping this here a bit.
Okay. Guys, looking very good, very, very strong the last couple of days, especially last week, man. Every day in the green, even after some potential sellouts managed to close higher. And today we're up another 5.2. So looking good. Great volume too, almost 900,000 there as well. TAL is, as you guys know, this is not good, not a good trader. Uber is up this morning. Any news? I know this was a tough one to trade.
Yeah, Uber, they got an upgrade out of Piper Sandler, neutral to overweight from neutral, moving their price target a whopping $2 to 33 from 31. So a little bit of an analyst upgrade. We'll see if that holds. Not the greatest trader, not the greatest catalyst. So who knows if that will stick.
Yeah, and not a huge upgrade neither. So possible for me, guys. Uber can be so tough. Even we've seen much bigger news than that, and it doesn't do well. So I don't have too high hopes on this one. All right, this list is getting longer, I think, or I did not notice how long it was to begin with. Let's go down to Tesla. We'll do a few more, then we'll throw it to the room. Tesla, of course, is going to be on our list, guys. This thing has just been incredible. 3.7 this morning. Getting some support here, man, above 110. So that is nice. Went down all the way to 101.17. Has been able to find some kind of support there. So we'll see. I'm just going to scan through this list and see if there's anything that I like. I'm definitely going to look at AMD. AMD looking good this morning, showing some strength, 2.5 right now. Light on the volume, but overall looking very decent. For a possible. I want to check what NVIDIA has. Similar. I like the pop we're getting on some of these usual suspects. I will add NVIDIA to my main list. Neo was great to us last week, man. So definitely this morning, numbers like no. This morning up 2.2, 1.3. Might be worth taking a look at. Might be worth taking a look at. Nobody's going to text me, what are you doing after the show? Lyft is on here. I'm assuming same thing here, sympathy play with this one. So again, it's not a whole lot going on, not really in play, barely any volume. And then Oxy has not been on our list in quite some time, and they're up 2.2 here with 113,000. Barely a possible. We'll keep it off the list for now. All right, here's the gapping down. We have Lulu. Wow, down 10%. Earnings or something else?
No, they offered a little bit of a dump on their Q4 guidance, just warning that the margins were going to be squeezed in fourth quarter. Got a similar story going on with Macy's. So guidance, kind of a pre-announcement a bit, saying that fourth quarter's going to be light. So
yeah, Lulu again. So it's not difficult to trade, but it has its moments where it can be a little bit tough.
It can be difficult to trade.
The spread at times, gotta be careful with that. So, higher price stock that doesn't move well. Today, pre-market actually looks very good. Let's see what happens. Macy's.
Mind your size.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, guys, this thing here. I mean, look at $5 candles on this thing. So be careful on that, right? Very, very careful. Macy's, I'm saying $5 candles on a 5-minute, which is very aggressive, by the way. Macy's, I don't like Macy's, guys. I really don't like the way this thing trades. I don't like the volume right now, so I'm gonna keep it off my list. Billy's doing some stuff possible. I want to come back to Billy. They got some good volume and a good pre-market activity today, 650,000, which is the best we've seen in quite some time. So that could be interesting. ATNF, no good, and SI, we saw this last week. This is garbage as well. So, all right, that's what we have. Norm, anything on your end you like this morning?
I mean, we've got a decent list here. There were some that just because it started to grow and get longer, you'll notice you skipped some of these toward the bottom of the gap up. We've got some, excuse me. We have some semi tickers up, NVIDIA, AMD.
Yeah.
We've got Plug. I like NVIDIA, frankly.
Yeah, I
often like NVIDIA, but
yeah. I put AMD on the secondary, and I like NVIDIA. I added on here, man. It looks good for today. I like the breakout on this range we're getting, right? I mean, the SPY is doing some of that, so Plugs coming up on the list as well, showing some activity. There's a lot today, guys. A lot that we can look at this morning, so that's great. Let's hope this turns out to be a good push here. All right, let's take a look here at what you guys have on your end. We'll start with Apple. Let's start there. Apple this morning. big one, usual suspects for us, up slightly 0.5%, 651,000. Yeah, I like Apple today. Apple was good today. Put that on the list. Amazon was great as well last week. It was some pretty good moves. Man, they're looking nice, up 1.4 right now, 631,000. That looks pretty good. Actually looks better, slightly better than Apple this morning. Slightly better than Apple. Going to put it here, guys, just to have it. I will fine tune this a little bit better. For example, I know Lululemon. I'm probably going to move this down for an Amazon all day when the Amazon's looking the way like this, right? That's going to be a decision I'm going to make. So we'll leave it here for now, but definitely Lululemon is just it's a tough stock to trade. Has anyone seen low flow owns SONN? Have we seen this? No, dangerous, man. Penny stock. Stay away from this stuff, man. Just be very, very careful. If you choose to trade something like that, be very careful. So I won't be watching that. Let's see here. It's such a low price, penny's price. I'm not even gonna add it to my risky pile. It's just not worth it.
Market cap's $11 million. That can be bought with a sneeze.
Tiny. So
Yeah.
that just means the volatility, guys, could be so bad on this. You could get caught in a nasty situation or something like that, right? So just be careful. And what happens is this type of stuff is attractive to newer traders or traders that have a smaller account or traders that have a big account and just want to buy a lot of shares for whatever reason. They want to buy 3,000, 5,000 shares.
I mean, if you look at that chart, it's like, hell, I could have doubled my money in 5 minutes.
Right.
And also gone broke in 5 minutes.
Exactly. Do your account a favor and be careful with this. All right. So how about over on YouTube, guys? What do you guys have over there? Let's see. Spread is $1 right now. Carlton, you're talking about you're probably talking about Lululemon, right? Yeah, spread could be nasty on that. It's gonna get better at the market open. But even then you gotta be careful. NC Trades is giving us EXAS. I think we've seen this before. No good, man. It looks very light on volume. So not a great intraday trading stock. I thought, yeah, we saw this probably a couple of weeks ago when it gapped up here and sold down. But again, just be careful with that. I'm not a fan of this daily and some of the information that chart had at all. Cool. Guys, we have a ton to look at. Let's get over to community events and announcements. We will come back and fine-tune this list. But yeah, turning out to be a nice pre-market this morning. Hopefully we can get a good day out of this.
All right. Every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. This is the first Monday we've had it in a while because of all the 4-day weeks. But Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, Carlos is onboarding technology. He'll be walking you through getting started here at BBT, so be sure to check that out. You're eligible to attend that regardless of your membership category. That includes trial members can go to that. See you tonight. Tuesday, strategy. Tomorrow night, Andrew, 8 p.m. Eastern, talking about the 920 trade book strategy and all that encompasses. Following week will be Thor talking about, he's going to review his book and talk about everything that's in there. So check that out next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Wednesday, Finding Your Mental Edge with Creda, 5 p.m. It'll be awesome to have her back. It's been, I think, a couple of months because she was on vacation in December. So it'll be good to see her. And then the following week, Mike, that time needs to be fixed. How to identify what money means to you. We're digging into the psychology of the money aspect of trading. Mentorship on Thursday with John at 11 and Thor at 8. TradingTerminal.com, where we are building out our tools for active traders. All kinds of great stuff here. Two of the tops are the scanners and the replay simulator, both of which many traders spend thousands of dollars a year for. You can get them for free at TradingTerminal.com. March 2nd and 1st, or 2nd and 1st. My God. I think I got too much sleep last night, Carlos. March 2nd and 3rd.
Yes.
San Diego Live Trading Summit. Be sure to check that out. 2-day event in San Diego. And then, guys, Peak Capital starts tonight. We have one spot left. So if you're interested, sign up. First come, first serve. We are going to have a very personalized small group deal here going into 2023. One of the big changes, one of the big things, we're going to have live trading at least a minimum. That's repetitive and redundant. 2 times per week in a Zoom meeting kind of format. Actually, I believe it's going to be over Google Meet, where you'll be able to share your screen and talk to the mentor and everything else while you're trading. So be sure to check that out, peakcapitaltrading.com.
All right, thank you very much, Norm. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's get to our list here this morning. We have quite a bit that we can look at, and again, I think it's turning out to be a really nice possible morning here. 1 second, guys. Here we go. Okay, let's start with Baba. So Baba, I'm impressed with Baba's move this morning in the last couple of days. I'm going to remove some of these highs and lows that we have here, because if you notice, new highs and lows from Friday are overlapping some of this stuff. So let's shift that out of there, and then we can get a clean chart here. So looking really good. Looking forward to that one. That one's going to stay on here. Tesla, man, looking nice as well. I'm not going to remove this 96 just in case Tesla decides to go back and test that 100. So we'll leave that 96.51. If you remember, we went back and we looked for that level on the weekly, right? So we got a couple levels towards the bottom, below 100 and off the weekly chart there. So towards the top, guys, we'll get some levels there, but this looks very good. We'll keep that on. NVIDIA, I like NVIDIA as well, breaking out of this range. Many stocks, guys, with the overall market breaking out of this range. It's so funny. I was looking at the just the overall market, the SPY, right? And if you look at the SPY, we just been stuck sideways, right? But if you did not know this, right? If you were not paying attention to this range we were in, and you just look at news articles and stuff that comes out, you would think that the chart, this stretch, looks more like this. If you just look at the news articles, right, and they say, hey, draw a picture of what you think the SPY looks like, I think you would draw a picture of something like this, right? It just seems so negative. Yeah, the house is burning down, Jason, and guys, we're right here. We haven't moved. That'll be a good experiment. It would take someone, just take a couple of articles of every week, like the top 3 articles, have them read them, and then say, hey, draw what you think the SPY chart looks like. We got to do that. Let's see if I'll probably do it to my wife. See what she comes up with. If I do, I'm going to record it. I want to see that. But here it is, guys. SPY is just moving sideways, breaking out, right? Breaking out of here. And that is what you're getting in many of these tickers, starting with NVIDIA. So NVIDIA here, guys, looking really nice this morning. We'll keep that on. Guys, NEO traded great on Friday. Not so much the other days, but on Friday was really nice. I like the volume today, but my top one is BABA for the Chinese tickers, man. This thing is just on a tear. And then, again, no bias here. We can get a really nice sell-off today, right? One, we're extended here. The few times it hasn't ran away too far, except this one day here. So it kind of stays close to where the previous candle was. We're trying to get extended here, but I don't know, man. If I had to choose, I think there might be some sell-off, some profit taking happening here. Their run on the daily since November, I mean, look at this. It has been pretty aggressive here. Either way, I think we have a real nice play on BABA today. So definitely one of my favorites this morning. NEO might be a secondary. I know we had a good day yesterday, but looking at it closely now, I like the volume. I like the gap up. It might just be a secondary. I'm going to move it down. Let's do that. Let's do that for now. We can always change that. Lululemon, guys, as much as I like the stock, it is in play today. As much as I like this gap down 10%, I don't like the stock. I like the gap down. This stock trades horrible for me. Although I think today you might get a day where that can actually do something. I'm just going to be cautious, man. I'm going to bring it down to secondary. I know others will be looking at this one, and if they see something, they'll say something, and then we will take advantage of it. I am going to move Amazon up. Amazon has a very nice pre-market activity today, so I think it deserves a spot on our main list. Just kind of shuffling things around here, getting our list prepared. So BABA, Tesla, NVIDIA, Apple, and Amazon, and we'll remove Amazon from here. And I think we're set, guys. I think we're looking pretty good. Maybe AMD. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll keep 5 for now. I think there's a very good, solid list this morning, made up of a lot of our usual suspects, and that is because our SPY and the overall market is creating these moves. But again, looking at very nice this morning. You guys hear that? That bird is like right on top of the house or something. He's pretty loud. I mean, if I hear him through my headphones, and these are noise canceling headphones, you guys should hear it too. Yes. All right. He's probably telling me not to trade a NEO or something. What else we got, guys? That's our list. Let's get to levels, and we can get going here. All right, so let's start with Baba this morning. Baba looking very nice. High of the pre-market at the moment. We're sitting at 113.33, so we'll slam a level there. Towards the bottom, he's hanging out at 110.53, the low of the pre-market. And then below this, guys, we got tons of levels towards the bottom here, highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. So that's looking pretty good there. Let's head over to the left and see what do we have above this 113.35, which is the high of our pre-market. I am going to go over here and just put a level here, 115.62. And then we got a couple here that are actually pretty good here, 119.71. We're not going to get to 125.86, but it's a level. Let's just mark it down. But this 115.62 and this 119 are looking really good. There's something in between here. This is more of a possible, right? More of a minor level of support and resistance at 117.93. I'm going to mark it down because you got only about 2 or 3 days slamming into that. I think it's worth noting, but the 115 and 119 are the real big levels on Baba this morning. Again, that is a big, big move. 119 and above. Even 117, but the way this thing is moving, we've seen some pretty strong days here, and it looks like it wants to continue today, guys. So I could see that happening. Now here's Tesla showing some strength here, slightly at least, up 3.3 this morning, 4 million shares traded. High of the pre-market, 118.14. So we will slam a level there. Towards the bottom, guys, we are set highs and lows for the last 2 trading days. So you don't have to add anything there. We have 124.44, great level on the daily, and then we have 136, right? Very far level there as far as the daily goes. But Tesla looking real strong, guys, at least for the moment. Had a great day on Friday, like many stocks did, after hitting some serious lows here. Did not get to 100, but was definitely pushing for it. But it would turn around before it can get to it. Now, so Tesla is good. Nvidia, guys, looking real nice alongside AMD. AMD is another good one to have on deck. I'm going to keep Nvidia. I think it's been trading just slightly better than AMD for the most part. Similar situation here, breaking out of this range. We've been stuck in between 140 and 147. So let's go ahead, mark down the high of the pre-market at 152.41. Above this, we do have 158.63. Let's head towards the top here. We do have another level at 164.79. Again, that would be a stretch, but that 158 looking really good if the market is going to be strong today. So that's good. Nvidia, I like Apple as well. Having a hard time breaking out of the range at the moment. Just kind of been stuck right on here and around this 130.30. Right, it is the high from last trading day on Friday. So just hanging out right on there, hasn't pulled off yet, which can be good for us because if we do get some strength in the market, then we're not trading something that's extended out of the range, which can be nice, can give us an opportunity for a run there. 130.83 is the next level I see slightly on the daily here. Above that, we do have the big levels are going to be up here at 142. We have a minor level over at a 132.32 as well. So plenty of stuff there towards the bottom, guys. As we've been stuck in this range, you're going to have the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days, and in this case, your low of your pre-market is the low of the day here for Apple. Here is Amazon. Amazon is what we got here on Amazon. This is looking pretty nice as well, up 1.2. I like the volume, 731,000. Doing pretty much what Apple and Nvidia and AMD are doing, but Amazon has been trading slightly better, man. I think the price action overall has been very clean. Higher volume than Nvidia and AMD for the most part. So I think this could be a good one. Today, 87.37, high of the pre-market. Above this, we do have a level here at 90.26, might actually be 90. And then we got a kind of like a messy level at the moment, right around 88.37, right? So it's like you got a couple of days opening and closing here. Some wicks blow by this, so they don't really stop at that level. But you got a couple of days opening and closing around here that might be worth adding that 88.37. So looking good, guys, on Amazon. I like the pre-market action we're getting here. I like the breakout that we're getting above 86 this morning. Let's see if we can get a continuation. Again, eyes on the SPY today, guys, as we usually do, right? Keep eyes on the Qs and the SPY. Because obviously this is why you're getting some of these moves. The market is creating this opportunity on some of the tickers that we're seeing here. I think really Bob is the only one that's kind of doing his own thing. That's why I like it so much today. They got their own thing going on, man. They look really, really good this morning for either direction. If we're going to sell off here because people want to take some profit, maybe they've been holding since 86 or 100, or maybe they got in when they thought it was going to get a bounce and right in this consolidation area. Maybe they got in here, right? Held through some of this stuff. I'm sure some people did. That's big, big loss and are finally seeing some green in their account. Maybe some profit taken there. Who knows? But I like Baba this morning for any direction that it does decide to take. All right, see moderators coming in with their list already. Our watch list is set. Our secondary list today, I have Lulu, which is again in play for sure. If you like this ticker, add it to your list. I have Neo here, which if Neo breaks out of here and it starts trading a little bit better than what it's doing here, I'll add it to my list as well. I actually got space for one more. AMD is good, but I got Nvidia already. Futu, guys, this is my sleeper for today. Is Futu. It's not a great trading stock, but this is a sleeper for today. I'm actually move this up because I like the setup on the daily here that we're getting. I like that we're going to be slamming against the gap, right? This gap here, maybe can get into a gap fill situation. I like this one today, guys. I really do. And I don't say that I don't say that ever about Futu. But this could be the sleeper this morning. We just got to look out for the spread. Not bad right now, pre-market, but I seen this not so much now because I haven't looked at really how it's been trading. But in the past, man, this thing, the spread was brutal, brutal. So it has died down a lot compared to how active it used to be. So be mindful of that with this one here. But yeah, I think you know what? Yeah, I think Futu is going to be interesting, guys. I'm going to add this to my list. You see, I see Jared added to the list. So if Jared's got on his list, man, I'm onto something here. I'm onto something. Yeah. So, yep. I'm gonna add that on there. I think it looks very interesting. So, what else, guys? Will, has it been a decent trader? Have you been trading Futu and have you found it to be somewhat decent? We'll see. Looks good. Okay, excellent. And how about on YouTube, guys? What do you guys like this morning? CVAC got some good pre-market action. Let's take a look. CVAC, what is this? This is CureVac. We've seen this before. Actually, we saw this just last week. I think was on our gap up list. I'm not a fan of this thing, man. This is a foreign a ticker, and it's a pharmaceutical company. I don't know what it is. It might be CureVac. Sounds like one, but just be careful, man. I don't like the way this thing trades. I don't like the volume that it gets. Any stock that trades this type of volume, right? 2 million shares and moves like this, relative to what they normally do, it is just so light volume for me. You can get some pretty nasty surprises, which I'm just not willing to bet on. And trust me, and the reason for that is because I have done it in the past. I have traded stocks that look like this, and it has not gone well. So my track record, my history on stocks that look like this one here, where they're lower price, they're moving 25% up, is not great. It's not great. You know whose track record too is not great when it comes to low floats as much, and he's the best trader that we know on planet Earth. Andrew doesn't trade low floats very well, right? Everything else he crushes. So he knows that, he knows what he's good at. He stays away from the stuff that he's not good at. And that's very, very important. Again, I would love to have been in here and be up, 25% of my position. That would be great. It's a great numbers that attract people, but it's just not worth it, man. It really is not. Again, not saying they're bad. So I want to be very careful. I'm not discouraged to trade something. But if you are going to trade this, know what you're doing, right? It's a different type of style that you need for this, right? So TLRY had earnings. That was another one that was that was a scary one back in the days. Man, $2. Wow, I did not expect that. That was like $22. Why is this thing not bankrupt? What is this again? Tilray Brands. What is that? What is this? Tilray Brands. I'm gonna look this up, guys. We got time. What is Til? I don't see nothing comes up. Yeah, this is what, man, this is crazy. Um, is this pot? Oh, that's right. This is one of the wee stocks in Canada. Man, this is brutal. Brutal. How about the other ones? Remember, guys, we go through these CRN. What's going on? People are not smoking no more. What's happening? CRN is falling off the face of the earth here. What's the other one, guys, that we have here? Give me some pot tickers. I want to look them up. What's CRN? There was a few that were heavily in play about was it 2 years ago? ACB, yeah, ACB. What? 89 cents? What is these stocks are not getting high on their own stuff here? What's going on? What else we got? Was it was more than this? This is a good one. CGC. There we go. That was the one that was actually to the what? All right. Oh my goodness. Guys, I haven't looked at these tickers in so long because our gappers try to stay away from stuff under $5. This stuff is like bankrupt. People are not, and these are all Canadian, I think, right? People are not smoking up in Canada. Or they're, I'm going to look this up after the show, find out what's going on. Kumara TLRY had earnings. Yeah, but they did. You're right, they had earnings, and they're dropping some more. Man, wow. But we had some fun with these. Canadians are growing their own. That's probably what it is. I got to ask Brian and Peter, our Canadian friends, what's going on? Did they move on to something else, or they're just growing their own now? What's happening with the wheat sector over in Canada? Jai, we need a session tomorrow just on pot stocks in Canada. All right, guys, let's get back into character here. Just that caught me really off guard. It really did. Let's see here. So we have stocks in play this morning: Baba, Tesla, Nvidia, Apple, Amazon, and and Futu today. All right, excellent. I'm trying to stay serious here. This is good. All right, let's go. Let's go look at our moderators list this morning. Man, 9:15 cannot come fast enough today. All right, let's head over here to our moderators list so far. So yeah, we got quite a few here. Thor, Mike, Jairus. Oh, we got everybody with a nice list this morning. Hey guys, you know it's gonna be a good day when you have Megan with 4 tickers on her list. Right, that's a good indicator that you can use as far as how many stocks are in play. Megan has 4 tickers: Amazon, Nvidia, Billy, and Baba. So that's an indication there's a lot to watch this morning, right? Well above her average of how many she watches, which is normally two tickers. Maple syrup is the best drug. Maple syrup is the best, man. Adam, I love it. Right, all right, guys. What else? What else do you guys have this morning that we can look at? BBBY, Cuba. Let's take a look there. Cuba is giving us BBBY. Another one that's just below here, guys. I mean, it's just pushing volume around. Like, there's nothing this stock could do for me that I would touch this ticker. 11.6. This sounds bankruptcy type situation there. Sounds going under fast. I wouldn't touch this, guys, at all. I would not touch this, man. It's nothing as good is gonna come out of you trading this. So just be mindful. This is just gambling. You're really gambling with this ticker here if you're trading this. Her trying to bottom fish. Yeah. Yep. I agree. Be careful with that. Jack Cat over on YouTube says Megan is going wild today. She really is. I mean, 4 tickets really caught me off guard there. She is, but tells you, we're in a good situation here with the market right now. So many things to watch. Our IQs on the list. So many things going up on our gappers as well. Guys, remember, we do have scanners for you available at tradingterminal.com. So don't forget that. You can get this exact same scanners there completely free. So take advantage of that. If you haven't done so over on YouTube, if you're enjoying this show, definitely hit that thumbs up. Sitting at 130 likes this morning. Appreciate your support. It does help a ton. Food to potential gap fill. Yeah, that's what I have it on my list. That's why I have it on my list. Potential gap fill today. I like the way they're setting up here. I like their volume. I like how they're gapping up 7%. The spread is not bad. Just keep being on the lookout for that. The market open. I think they're onto something good, man. This is our sleeper for today that normally does not do well. But I saw some comments in chat where people are saying that lately it has been trading well. So they've been watching it lately, has been trading decent. Tesla pop. Yeah, Tesla's good, guys. Tesla's going to be a monster today, it looks like. I mean, they've just been beat up so much. Lately, they've been trying to just, flatten out here a little bit. Had a big day on Friday, like many things. Gapping up today again. So yeah, it's looking very nice. I mean, eventually we knew at some point they're going to find some support, and at least company's not going bankrupt. There's got to be some value to this. I don't know what the value space would be at, for future investments and stuff like that. But this is at some point you got to get some kind of turning point here, which you're seeing that here now. Let's see if it's going to hold. Right, that's the thing. Is this going to hold, or are we going to get one of these like we had just a week ago, where it's you had this little pop and then you got the slam and made a new low again towards that 100. So we'll have to see how that's going to play out. Why do the mods have much smaller watches compared to us? Well, yeah, some of them have it smaller, but again, keep in mind, guys, that my main watch list is going to be this. This is what's going to be up on my screen right here, right? So all here is the secondary stuff. After I'm going through this, I'll look at this, and also I want you to see, if anything's happening here, or I'll have it ready. If any of the moderators call any of this stuff out, I can look at it, right? So for example, you have some people looking at coin, like Susan is looking at coin. So if she calls out coin, I have it here ready to go. I can just look to see if there's anything I like that I can trade this morning, right? So, but our list is 5-6. Usually my list is 5 to 6 tickers. It all depends on the way you trade, right? If you look at Mike's list, Mike only has 3, but he trades a very specific setup. So he's looking for something very specific in these tickers that our tickers here, like NVIDIA, Apple might not have, right? But Tesla, Baba, and Meta do for him. So it also depends on your trading style. So again, yes, look at other moderators' lists, but also make sure it fits into your trade book that you have built through our education center, right? Well, I'm talking to someone on YouTube. If you're not part of the community, the education center is going to take you through how to build that trade book and how to do your stock selection, right? To fine tune this a little bit more. So that's the reason why moderates list is going to be different. Not everyone is going to have the same exact list, right? Because we all trade very, very different, and you'll see that through the courses as you're going through them, especially for our newer traders in the community. All right, guys, good. 912 so far. Jerry's adding plug. I did see plug on the gap up list today, and again, it had a good move on Friday. Not a whole lot going on right now, but it does have potential, guys, as well. So again, so many things in play today, guys. You can be really, really picky, and also when we have so much stuff that's moving like this, the lists are going to look even more different because there's just so much to choose from, right? You can take your pick. Carlos, that fallen angel and lightning bolt life. Yeah, I agree. If that's what you like, then you're looking for something very specific, especially on that fallen angel in the pre-market, right? You're looking for a very specific setup on the rising devil that you want to see in the pre-market taking place, especially right before, a couple of minutes before the market open. All right, let's bring over our moderators list, guys. If you haven't done so on YouTube as I do this and set this up for you, hit that thumbs up. We appreciate it very, very much as we get our likes, hopefully above 200, at 163 at the moment. We'd love to be above 200. It's our threshold line there. So let's bring this over and see what our moderators are looking at this morning. I see we have Eamon coming in with his list as well. So let's take a look here. Thor, AMD, Tesla, MRVL, Baba, and Microsoft. Mike is looking at Tesla, Baba, and Meta. Jared, AMD, Baba, Futu, because Carlos said it's good. I didn't even read this at the first time when I first read that. So yeah, then I saw your comments in the thing there. Secondary, Meta, Tesla, and EV continuation. So that's good. Megan looking at Amazon, Nvidia, Billy, and Baba. Susan has coin and the overall market. Also Tesla, Nvidia, and Oxy as well on her list. Jerry's adding plug, and then we have Eamon potential long for today. He's looking at A firm and BA risky, so be very, very careful with those. Okay, that's what we have, guys. Over on YouTube, remember, tonight is onboarding class at 8 p.m. Eastern time, so do not forget that. We will see you there as we show you what our community is like. You can get a 7-day week access with an intro membership for just $24. Use the PreMarket 24. Get into the chat room, see what the live trading is about as we trade with the moderators the entire day here, and join the onboarding class this evening so I could give you a little bit of information of our community and some of the things you can find there. Here it is, Buzzer Beater, our friend, our main man here, Brian, coming in with his list. NVIDIA, Lulu, Baba, PDD, and Tesla. I had bets that he was going to have Lulu on here because Brian does trade that stock very well, actually. So he's going to have that on his list. Definitely in play this morning. Down big. It's dropping some more here. Looks like it wants to go back to the low of the pre-market, down 12% right now. So guys, take care, trade safe over on YouTube. We will see you guys tonight for the onboarding class at 8 p.m. If not, tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. with Engineering the Market with Jared. Take care, guys.